Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Hard Hats and High Tech, the podcast from RIB Software, where I'm joined by industry experts who share their knowledge and experience to tackle the common challenges of modern construction. I'm your host, Bernardita, and I'm really happy to introduce you to today's guest, Amirul Izzat, who is going to be chatting to me about technology and innovation in the construction industry. Hi, Amirul, how are you?
Hello, Bernardita. Kia ora. How are you? How are you doing?
I'm really good, thank you. What does Cura mean?
Actually, in New Zealand, when we meet people, normally like we meet guests or something like that, we always say kia ora. So basically, kia ora is something like good upon you. If you want to greet someone else, we always say kia ora. So that is what kia ora means.
That's really interesting. I love to know that. Um, okay, would you like to get started by giving our audience a little bit of background into who you are?
Okay, sure, no problem. Okay, so my name is Amirul Izzat. So in RIB, I'm working as a senior cost act consultant, and basically my role is all about helping construction companies, especially for those in quantity surveying profession. So I assist in terms of software implementation. We provide training, and I give advice on the best ways how going to use our software, and other than that, I also help in terms of tackle any challenges or any obstacle that our client face. And the most important part is I keep an eye on their progress to ensure they succeed in meeting their goals, mainly by boosting their business productivity.
That's great. So it sounds like you have a lot of experience with technology. So I'm really excited to hear your thoughts about this topic. So let's get started. As a
Mhm.
product consultant, what would you say are the key technology trends that are currently shaping the industry?
When I think back to when I started in industry about 15 years ago, so it is
Oh,
crazy how much things have changed. Back then, everything was super manual, like talking about paper plans, heaps of back and forth emails. So it was all a bit clunky. But if we look at current situation, the industry is going through this massive digital transformation. So one of the biggest things we are seeing is building information modeling, or sometimes we call BIM. So it's
mhm.
really a total game changer for collaborations and keep a project on tracks. Then there are other technologies as well. We have drones, which is a lifesaver for site surveys and inspections. So let's not forget about prefabrication, modular construction, which is honestly super exciting because it speeds things up on site. And another thing is artificial intelligence, or AI. So as we are seeing tools like ChatGPT, which is helping out with all sort of day-to-day tasks. So it's like all these cool technology are teaming up with software to really smooth out the workflows and make work together we much easier. Plus, being able to track a progress in the real time, that's something that we couldn't even dream back in the day.
That's really interesting. You mentioned some really interesting technologies there. So I would like to dive a little bit deeper into a couple of them, starting with BIM. What can you tell us a little bit more about BIM in the construction industry and how it's reshaping the current practices?
Okay, BIM, or building informations modeling, is really changing the way construction works by making the teamwork so much easier. So basically, it is like having a shared digital versions of the building that, everyone's, whether you are architects, whether you are engineers, contractors, which we can look at the same information so that we can work with. So this way, everyone's working in the same information, which is fewer mistakes and a lot less confusion. So another cool things about BIM is that it doesn't just stop at the design or construction phase. So basically, it can helps in terms of manage the whole building life cycle even after it's built. And with the 4Ds and 5D beams, you can actually see how changes in the design will affect the timeline or the budget in the real time. So it's like having a crystal ball for your project.
That's really cool. I mean, for me personally, BIM is super interesting, and I'm sure we could do a whole episode just talking about it, which I'm sure we might in the future. But now I would like to move on to a really big technology, not only in the construction industry, but in the world, which is AI. So could you tell us also a little bit more into about AI in the construction industry?
Yeah, sure. One things I like about AI, artificial intelligence, if you notice, like it's a short name of my name as well, Amirul Izzat. So
Oh,
normally I just always make a joke, like, I always call myself as AI because my name is Amirul Izzat. So, so
I
artificial
love that.
intelligence is really, shaking things up in the construction, especially when it comes to making smarter decisions. So it's a great of crunching a massive amounts of data, which helps team predict risks on the project, or figure out the best way to use resources, and even spot a potential delays before they happen. So we also seeing another things we call as a machine learning, which is being used to look at the past data and what's happening now to give more accurate estimates for cost and timelines. And that's another cool stuff, like autonomous machines like excavators. We have a robot, they can lay bricks, for example. So these things basically handle a repetitive task, which is we making the whole process faster and cutting down on mistakes. So it's all about working smarter but not harder.
Wow, that seems like it will be a real game changer in the construction industry.
Yeah.
But I'm sure AI is not an easy topic, especially when it comes to integrating it with other systems and
Mhm.
tools. So, what challenges come to mind when talking about adopting AI and maybe even other digital technologies in the construction industry, in your experience?
From my experience, one big challenge is just not about AI, but other technologies as well. Is that a lot of people in constructions, they are just used to doing things in the old way, so they are not always keen on switching to a new technology. So it can feel like a hassle, and the upfront cost can seem a pretty high, which makes some companies hesitate to invest. Another issue is in terms of the skills gap, like knowledge and skill, which is workers, they need to learn how to use a digital tools and AI system. And that takes time to trainings because we have a learning curve that we need to go through. So on top of that, there's another worry about the data security with so
Mhm.
many cloud-based platform. So sometimes company can be nervous about keeping their sensitive info safe, which this one can hold them back from jumping in.
Okay, I mean, I'm not surprised about these challenges. We already had other experts in the podcast who told us about resistance to change and the skills gap. So I'm not surprised about this. But in light of these challenges, what strategies do you think companies can implement to solve these challenges?
Challenges like what we can do to basically can help in terms of reduce all these challenges is that one thing is in terms of awareness. So I believe that this is an example of how we can increase the awareness by always have like a podcast like this. All these kind of discussion topics we need to always spread around, talking, discuss, keep continuing to discuss about it. That is the first one. The second one is that is the for the government side. I think it's also important for the governments to uh, take and some sort of active roles. Give some sort of uh, rebates or some sort of tax relief for those companies who are willingly to invest to change all these kind of technologies. And the rest of what we can do at the moment is promoting, I would say.
Okay, that's good advice. I want to go back a little bit to something you mentioned a few minutes ago about repetitive tasks, which I'm sure is related to another technology that I want to discuss with you, which is automation. So, in your opinion, how does automation improve the efficiency of construction projects?
Yeah, automation is something that is not going to use a human's effort because all those things will be done in automatic way. So automation is really boosting efficiency in constructions by cutting down on the need for people to do a repetitive task. For example, we've got a robot, for example, that can lay bricks, they can weld steel, or even they can do a 3D print concrete structures now. So this means buildings can go up faster and there's a less chance for mistakes. So it's just not about a physical work either. Automation is also helping in terms of project management. So basically, in any project management software, they have available tools that they can handle things like scheduling, resource planning, even tracking progress in automatic manner. So this frees up the project managers to focus on the bigger picture stuff, making everything run smoother and helping to avoid delays.
Okay, so it gives time to for the management to focus on other high value tasks rather than doing
Exactly.
these manual driven things.
Yeah.
Okay, now in the topic of efficiency, I want to talk about another thing that is really relevant today for construction, which is sustainability and how this topic is being addressed through construction technology today.
Sustainability is a big deal in construction now, and technology is really helping to make things greener. So tools like, just like I mentioned just now, tools like BIM, which is a great for planning things for more precisely, which we can cut down on the wasted materials. AI, artificial intelligence, is another thing also making a difference by predicting the environmental impact of project and suggesting a better or even more eco-friendly options. Then there's another prefabrications and 3D printing, which is help reduce waste on site. So this energy efficient design, smart buildings, and the use of renewable energy construction projects are becoming a lot more sustainable, and it's all about building smarter and cleaner.
And what about sustainable construction software, for example, for carbon accounting and all of this? How is this helping with sustainability?
Um, Yeah. In terms of the software tools that we can use in terms of helping is we have a lot of other softwares that can really, if you look from the trends, right? Normally last time, all the softwares being produced just focusing on profitability and maybe reducing the cost down. But if you look starting from the last 10 years, you can see that the trends for the software developer, they started to include the sustainability as well. So since that the software comes together with the technology itself, so that's where the software can help in terms of the sustainability. So in terms of, for example, just giving you example like embodied carbon. So embodied carbon is another sustainability components, which is we can do it in our software. So software now is very important, especially to team up with these sustainability components.
Okay, that's great. Now I wanted to ask you also, in your opinion, how do you think, or if the construction professions will be affected by technologies like AI, for example?
Yeah, this is a good question, Bernardita. I always come out, being asked these questions. So to be honest, I don't think that, the construction professions will be badly affected. I don't think so. In this case, it is much more on the more about adapting to the changes. So with all the new technologies coming in, like BIM, we have artificial intelligence, 3D printing. So it's just about shifting how things are done. So, for example, BIM. So basically, BIMs they can help cut down the waste by making a planning more precise, and AI can suggest a greener ways to build while we are predicting the environmental impact. Prefabrications and 3D printing are basically reducing the material waste and speeding things up. So while energy efficient design and smart buildings are becoming the norm, sure, it's a shift, but it's also an opportunity for the industry to grow and build smarter, more sustainable projects. So the key here is for the people in constructions to embrace the technology and keep learning a new skills.
Okay, so it's not about the profession actually changing, it's about the professionals integrating the technology to their
Yeah,
advantage. Okay, that's
exactly.
cool. Now, before we finish, I wanted to ask you, what do you think the future holds for the construction industry in terms of technology?
For future, I think the future of constructions is definitely. I think all of us will agree that construction industry definitely heading towards more digital tools and smarter ways of working. So we're going to see the AI, the robotics being used even more, especially for automating tricky tasks and making projects run smoother. Augmented reality, AR, virtual reality, VR. So all these terms we're going to hear more and more in the future are also going to become a bigger deal, which helping with the design visualizations and training workers. So digital twins are another exciting part of the
Mhm.
future. So they will give a real-time feedback on how buildings perform. Additionally, is that sustainability is going to keep pushing innovation forward with all these green technologies and smart building system becoming pretty standard. So overall, the industry is moving towards being more efficient, data driven, and eco-friendly.
Hey, that sounds really promising for the future. I think that is all we have time for today. Thank you very
Mhm.
much for this conversation. It
No
was
worries.
really educational. And to
Yep.
our listeners, thank you again for joining us. And we'll be back with another episode of Hard Hats and High Tech very soon. Bye. Thank you.
Bye.